How are you, my fans, sneak peepers, and curious friends? I am difficult and demanding. If you want to know my real name, then hold still, and I might bring your wish to fruition. Before we begin, you can find this podcast show in iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Blueberry, Google Play Music, TuneIn, YouTube, and Stitcher. Now, unlike the other people in your life, I actually care about what you think. So meet me halfway, take a tiny moment, and give my podcast and each episode a review rating. This is the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast, keeping it real, uncensored, and shooting straight between the eyes. The third eye, that is. I am going to hit you with explicit truth. This solo show is outrageously honest and keenly witty with a view into life. Yes, I said life. That's what we do every day when we wake up from sleeping. We are living life. Well, some of us at least. Moreover, I hope to provide you with gut-wrenching laughter and a touch of wisdom. Let's get something straight. Really, really straight. I am truly, actually, habitually, and shamelessly difficult and demanding, and I completely own it. Now, I don't ask for much because I expect and receive it all. I firmly believe that if you expect shit, you will receive shit. What does that mean? Well, it means expect nothing but the best and don't settle for less. As always, I, your host Tara, am keeping it real and uncensored. Anticipation. Don't you love it? Everything you do is based off of anticipation. So after much anticipation, my next episode is finally here for you. So unplug from your life and dive all into episode 50 of the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast. Do you miss me? Yes, do you miss me? What are you willing to do to placate yourself until our paths cross again? Missing someone is very taxing. The separation from our loved one and the anticipation of seeing our loved one again. What do you know about sex after marriage? What are your SEXpectations? Are you ready, willing, and able to adjust and adapt to have passionate intimacy? Or are you going to settle into a deprived rut? Before I begin, I am going to do a call out. What's a call out? Well, it's not a shout out. I am calling out you motherfucking lurkers. If you have entered my world, then be honest with yourself about it. You want to be here, and you know I want you here, so follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Finally, climb aboard and enjoy the entire show, because I am giving you plenty of ridiculous honesty. Once the podcast episode ends, I am keeping it going on my Instagram page at Difficult and Demanding and on my Twitter page at Mrs. D and D. All of us miss someone. Some are missed more than others. The ones you miss more. The ones you miss so deep. The yearning actually cuts to the bone. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you felt it? Do you feel it now? Right now, as my voice reverberates through your being. You see, I am stirring up your longing. I know I am. Anyone that listens to me, you know what's up, don't you? I bring motherfuckers to life. Yes, I give you life, a new lease on life. I give you your life. Now you're pulsating with life. Good. What do you do when you miss someone so much it hurts? Why does it hurt you so much to miss the person? What do they mean to you? What value do they add to your life, huh? Do you miss them as much as you miss me? Yes. Yeah, I'm out of this world, aren't I? But do you miss them as much as you miss me? Are you thinking? I don't know why you're thinking. There's nothing to think about. You know and I know the answer is yes, right? Do you miss me? I want to know if you miss me. How much do you miss me, huh? Have you ever measured it? Be very careful. I'm trying to trick you. If you claim to miss me, yes, me, then anyone that misses me truly can't begin to quantify that shit. Do you understand? You can't contain the yearning for me. So tell me, do you miss me? I want to know. And I know you want to tell me. Tell me. Tell me, please. Now you must know I don't say please very often. Are you at a loss for words? Are you? When I ask you if you miss me, then you need to say the following words. Listen. Listen very carefully. I want to hear you say too much. Yes, too much. Very simple and powerful at the same time. Now, what do you do to satisfy your longing? Right? It aches to miss me. It aches to miss your loved one, doesn't it? It does ache, huh? I am just using myself to give you a benchmark for your life. Yes. With each episode, I am raising your expectations of life, of your life. And today, we are talking about how you miss someone and what will you do when you miss them. So, shall we proceed? I think we should. Why do you miss someone more than another? A number of us, we focus on the people that we miss. And we really don't give two flying fucks about the people we don't miss. Now, the people we don't miss, you would naturally or automatically assume that is people that aren't really in your life. But no, you have people who are in your life who serve some type of role of importance. And you don't give a fuck about missing them. Why is that? Huh? Why is that? Do you know? You're thinking, I have people in my life and I don't miss? Yeah, you have people in your life who perform some type of role, which means you need them in your life and you don't miss them. But then you have some, or one, that you miss so much. How can you have so many people in your life and you miss one or a few over the others? When you compare and contrast that shit, it's amazing, isn't it? You would think that everyone that you have in your life, you would miss them, but no. We have a number of people in our lives that we take for granted, that we feel some sort of entitlement to. We're used to them giving and doing for us. We consider them to be some type of fixture in our life, and we don't miss them. But then we have others who we miss so much. Why is that? I'll tell you why. The person or people that you miss, they are feeding something within you that's not being fulfilled. Something that's missing within you. And you can only get that taken care of by that one or few people. These other people in your life, they're doing shit for you that you probably more than likely can get someplace else. The people you don't miss are the ones you have substitutes and replacements for. What do you think about that? Did I make a light bulb go off on? Yeah, a light bulb went off in your head, didn't it? Why don't you miss everyone you encounter? Now I switch it up on you. We meet people every single day. Some people we encounter like, wow, I like that person, but you'll never see them again. On some level, you miss them. But other people, again, whole bunch of them you don't give a fuck about. Why is that? How can you miss someone you just met and you'll never see again? Because again, that person stirs something awake within you that you need it. You don't know you need it, but you need it. And when they stir it, you want it fulfilled by them, even if it's for a small second of time. The point is, they're feeding a part of your being, your core, and your soul, and that is why you miss some and not the other. Does the level of yearning for someone determine the strength of the connection you have? I would say in general, yes. But unfortunately, there are relationships in life where one person yearns more than the other. That relationship is lopsided. It's not balanced. And that's something that you should not involve yourself in fully, or you should pull away because that does not benefit you. Lopsided relationships are of no use. But when the relationship is balanced between two people and that yearning is deep, it's very deep, it growls, that connection is strong, very, very strong. Only when the relationships are balanced, it's mutual. Have you missed someone and they don't miss you? I'm sure you have. And I'm sure you've wondered, why don't they miss me? Because you don't fulfill them the way they fulfill you, which is why I said before, this is a lopsided relationship. Yes, sometimes you meet people and they fulfill something very wonderful within you, but the feeling's not mutual. You're not fulfilling or satisfying to them, which means they don't miss you. And what that means is that is a sign for you to let that person go and move the fuck on. Because if you can't dial your emotions, your feelings down for that person at an equal level, if you can't bring it down and have it dissipate so it's equal, then you have to say goodbye to that person, because there's too much emotional, mental, and spiritual stress to even consider maintaining a lopsided relationship. When the person you miss is not around, how do you soothe your yearning for them? Yeah. And we do this automatically and we don't even know it. When we miss someone very badly, our brain instinctually starts coming up with ways to help ourselves get through those moments when they're not around. And depending on the type of person we are, depending on the relationship, depending on the connection, will depend on the things that you do. Some of us want to ingest things that are made by the people we miss and love. Some of us like to sniff, smell, and touch. Some of us like to hear and see. But for each connection is different. For some, you need all of those things from that person, or you choose one. But we get really creative and innovative in helping to placate ourselves while we are not around our loved one that we miss terribly. Do you keep it a secret or minimalize how much you miss someone? Yeah, a lot of us do. A lot of us have a hard time displaying how we truly feel because you think it makes you look weak. And you don't want to look weak. But actually, when you can't speak your truth, share your truth, and not give a fuck about the outcome, you're still weak. You should never restrict how you feel, saying how you feel because of rejection, because of how someone may respond. It's your truth. How can you shy away from your truth? That's like you shying away from you. Don't lock yourself away. If you miss someone, tell them that. But don't expect anything in return. If you tell someone that you love them, don't expect them to say it back. And it's okay to love someone and they don't say it back to you. And it's okay to miss someone and they don't say it back to you or they don't feel it. You say it and you move on. And if they say it back, great. If they acknowledge it, great. If they appreciate it, great. But speak your truth and don't hold back. Don't have regrets, guilt, or shame. You just can't expect anything in return when it comes to that person. But live your truth, speak your truth, do your truth. What is the best way to tell how much a person misses you? You look in their eyes. You look at their eyes. You look inside their eyes. And then you read their body language. People who feel uncomfortable telling you how they really feel, they try to hide that shit. Some are really good at hiding. So you have to be a really good detective to pick that shit up. But when all else fails, trust your instincts. Know your instincts. And live by your instincts. Do you understand? When the person you crave is around, how do you fill yourself up with their presence? Yes. When they're with you, they come back into your presence. Naturally, you're elated. You're happy. How do you soak in that person? How do you take as much in as possible so you have enough to last with you when you separate again? Again, we don't think about it. We just automatically do it. But maybe what we do can be more powerful, more potent if we have a clear awareness of what we're doing and why. There's nothing wrong with missing someone. There's nothing wrong with loving someone. And there's nothing wrong with soaking up their essence when they're with you, because it's fulfilling. And who doesn't want to be fulfilled? Why is it okay to live a life of deprivation? Huh? That's not okay. What's okay is to be fulfilled and to seek and get fulfillment. And that is what we should all strive for. How can our five senses help us satisfy our desire for another? Well, looking at a person brings you great joy. Hearing their voice brings you great joy. Touching them gives you great joy. It's all about fulfillment, and our senses allows us to do it. And there's other ways that we can soak up the presence of another. Do you show and tell your loved ones you miss them? You should. It will make their day a much better day, and it will make their life much better. Share it. It doesn't make you look weak, and it's actually making you very powerful, because you are very comfortable, confident with yourself, you're self-aware, and you radiate love and positivity. And when you radiate that, that is what you get back naturally. So never feel shame for your feelings. Feel it. And if reciprocated, great. If it's not, fuck it, whatever. Go share your love with someone else. Keep on moving. Don't let that shit stop you at all. Why do you miss the one, the special one, more than the others you miss? Let me say that again. You have people you miss, but there's one person that you miss above them all. What sets that person apart? What makes them so different? Yeah. When you have a group of people that you miss and there's one person that's above the rest, I would say there's a pretty damn good reason why. And while you're missing that person, I can tell you this, that's more than likely they're feeding something within you that's above and beyond your five senses. They're connecting it with you on a soul level, on a spirit level. Now, when I say soul and spirit level, I have a tendency that makes people feel uncomfortable. They don't like talking about their soul and their spirit because naturally they think of death. That's when soul and spirit becomes something that people focus on. But I'm saying, no, your soul and spirit is with you right now. So why you only want to focus on it when you're dead? Your soul and spirit is with you right now for a reason, because it's here to help guide you live a happy, fulfilling life. So instead of thinking about your soul and spirit leaving your motherfucking body when you're dead, how about you take care of your soul and spirit while you're alive and make the most of it, because it's here to help you live a happy, fulfilling life. Now, if you miss one person above, beyond most others, then that connection is so deep, it cuts beyond anything else. It's something that it has to be spirit based. It has to be spirit based. If you have one person rise above the others, and that's all I'm going to say about that. How do you connect with a person? Well, you connect with a person through your 5 senses and your aura, your spirit. That's how you connect. And depending on how many points of connection you have, touch, sight, smell, hearing, taste, your aura, your vibration, the more connections you have, that deeper that connection is. Yeah. The more you have, the deeper, the stronger it is. So ideally, you want to have relationships with people, friendship-wise, romantically, that you connect on many, many levels. Not just people you like to dress the same, or you like to look at the same, or you like the same foods. You need to evolve above and beyond that. You want multi-layer connections because that strengthens your relationship, that strengthens your bond. When you miss someone, what does it awaken within you? Yeah. When you're missing someone, that means what they give you, what they fulfill inside of you. One, you weren't aware of until you met that person. And 2, you don't know how to fulfill that shit because 1, you weren't aware of it until you met that person. And the person's not here and you can't figure out what the fuck is going on and how to take care of it. But I can guarantee you, if you're missing someone very badly, very deeply, you want to take the time and effort to get to know what this is that you're feeling and what can you do about it outside of that person. Because that person's not going to be able to be around you at all times. When they're around, that's great. But when they're not around, you don't want to be with great discomfort mentally and emotionally and physically because you're lovesick. You're lovesick. So try to find a way to soothe and take care of yourself and find out, okay, this is awakened within me. I'm not familiar with this. What is this? What is this that you're trying to tell me? What is this you're trying to share with me about me? And finally, what's hard? The separation or the anxiety tied to your loved one? Yeah, when you come together with someone you love, eventually you guys are going to separate. And the thought of that separation and the act of that separation, it can be really, really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. And what do you do about that? Have you tried things you've never tried before? Have you done things you never thought you would do before because that relationship is so strong? It's amazing how our different connections with people and the strength or potency of it will have you doing, saying, and thinking shit you thought you would never ever do. Yeah, you thought you would never ever do because you're trying to just find ways to be as close as possible when that person's not around. Whether you have an article of clothing, a piece of jewelry, their pillow, they make something that you like and you want to eat it because they made it for you. We find so many different ways to stay connected with the people we love the most because they're cherished. They're a treasure to us. And we know they can't be around us all the time. So we find ways to kind of anchor ourselves until we come again. So I asked you, what's harder? The separation from your loved one or anticipating when you're going to see your loved one again? Yes, we go through the cycle. Separation, anticipation. Anticipation when you see each other again. Separation, anticipation. That takes a toll. It's hard. It puts stress on your mind, your body, your heart, and soul. So what I'm asking you guys is, what have you done? What are the things that you have done to get yourself through those times of separation and those feelings of anticipation of when you're going to see each other again? Because you don't know what monkey wrenches are going to be thrown in your way while you are anticipating connecting with your loved one again. You don't know. So when you have a moment, take a step back and think about some of the things you've done. Some may surprise you. Some seem like a natural or given. Some will blow your mind. You'll be like, shit, how the fuck did I come up with that? When we are longing or yearning for something we desire, we become really innovative, really creative in getting our needs and objectives met. We do. And you know what? You should never feel shame on loving or missing someone and letting them know that you love and miss them, and letting it be known that, hey, I'm doing this because I'm going to miss you. I'm saying this because I love you. I'm keeping this because you are one of the most treasured people in my life. Let it be known. Don't hide from yourself. Don't hide from your feelings. Don't. It will free you to live an even better life, to stand in your truth. So stay tuned for something in the news. Okay, everyone. I have a new, fresh, hot batch of bullshit for you. As usual, I've read an article, and this article was called 9 Things I Didn't Learn About Sex Until I Got Married. Right? Fresh batch of bullshit. Do you agree? Well, if you don't agree, you may agree by the time I'm done. You may not give a fuck still by the time I'm done. Whatever, but at least you get to spend some quality time with me. So this article says, by the time you get married, you may feel like you've already learned everything you're ever going to learn about sex. It says your SEXpectations, yes, SEXpectations for the next year, decade, and beyond seems set in stone. Why do we like to set shit into stone? Why do we like to set shit in stone? Some of us can't even keep our goddamn waistline in check. We can't keep our waistline in check. Most things in life we have no control over. We can't even really control how we evolve as a person. We don't fully have control over that. So how is it even reasonable for us to come up with this notion that our SEXpectations are set in stone after you get married? That sounds like you're setting yourself up for failure to me. It sounds like you're setting yourself up for massive disappointment to me. It sounds like straight up heartache to me. But who the fuck am I, right? What the fuck do I know? I'm just someone you listen to because she has a great voice, right? Anyway, moving on. This article said, the truth is, there are bound to be some surprises ahead, good ones and not so good ones. Well, at least someone has some damn sense. Yes, good ones and not so good ones as far as surprises. So we're going to go through some of these epiphanies that these couples had or are having since they have gotten married. The first one, number 1, says, intimacy takes on a new meaning after you're married. It says, this person says, one of the main things I learned about sex after I got married was the true meaning of connecting with another person. See, guys, this is some straight up stupidity. And I know some of you are going to get offended by what I'm saying. And look, I'm going to apologize to you in advance. I really, really am. But if you are truly, really connecting with another after you say, I do, that sounds like some fraud bullshit to me. Because the whole point of getting married, to me, means that you have already connected. You've connected on every different level that is possible. So that piece of paper, that ceremony, that's just a motherfucking cherry on top. It's a cherry on top. That should not make or break your relationship, your connection in any way, shape, or form. So if you're telling me you're connecting means more after getting married, then what the fuck have you been doing up until this point, huh? Have you been holding back? If you've been holding back, that means you've duped your partner. You didn't show them who you really were. If you're really connecting with the person after you say I do, that means to me, you didn't put your real self out there. How can a real motherfucking connection come after you say 2 words, I do? That doesn't sound secure to me, and that definitely doesn't feel safe to me. You're looking for a ceremony to validate you, your feelings in your relationship, when I wouldn't marry a motherfucker unless that connection was solid motherfucking gold. Do you understand? This person also said that sex went from something fun to enjoy and experience to a whole new way of communicating with my wife. I had a new understanding of intimacy and passion, knowing that the person I was having sex with was in it for the long run and not just for instant satisfaction. And that made the sex more enjoyable and passionate. This sounds like some insecurity to me, because how can you get grounding from a piece of paper? Yes, marriage is something very important, very sacred, and very special. But we place a lot of weight on that label of marriage. And the people who are involved in it, they can't carry their motherfucking weight. Listen to what I'm saying. This person said sex went from something fun to enjoy and experience to a whole new way of communicating with my wife. Why wasn't that an option prior to marrying her? Why did you need marriage and this ceremony to unleash this aspect of you? Why were you holding back? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you held that shit back up until marriage, that will naturally lead me to believe under the right circumstances, you can withdraw it again. A marriage cannot be defined by a piece of paper. Your sacred union is defined by the 2 people that are involved in it. And if you're saying, I don't feel comfortable enough with you until I'm married with you to experience this new way of life, no. Marriage is a wonderful thing. Don't get me wrong. I truly believe that, especially with the right people involved. And even when you're navigating life and circumstances, you're going to encounter issues and problems. But it's the people involved that make or break the situation, how they handle it, how they approach it. So if you are holding yourself back, restricting yourself from enjoying yourself and enjoying the other person, why would you do that? Why are you depriving yourself? Why are you depriving yourself based on a certificate? This person saying, now that this person's married me, I know they're in it for the long haul. You should have understood what that person was about before you even proposed to them. So if you had a motherfucking question or doubt in your head about whether that person was in it for the long haul or not, I would say you shouldn't be marrying that person. I would say your picture, your foundation is cracked and incomplete. When you get married, everything should be as crystal motherfucking clear as possible. If you were in a ceramics class, you would make sure that your clay, whatever you're working with, was set as close to what you want it to be before you bake the shit. So if you're waiting to get married to bake your ceramic, I got to question your approach. You got to have that connection and everything up front. That piece of paper is symbolic. That ceremony is symbolic. But it is not the crux. It is not the base of the iceberg. It's only the tip of the iceberg. So I'm questioning your emotional and mental maturity when it comes to this. How does the passion get more after getting married? Do you know what the fuck marriage entails? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of responsibility, obligations, and duty. And if you think that your passion is going to help you sail the fuck through, you're wrong and mistaken. That shit should have been the foundation before you got married. You should have set that shit in stone before you went forward. If you're trying to sprinkle that shit in now, yeah, I'm saying a lot of motherfucking shits. Now I threw in motherfuckers for you guys. Okay, bear with me. But if you're throwing in the passion and saying it's gotten better, after I've gotten married. No, you're in the honeymoon phase. You're in the honeymoon phase. Ideally, you want to keep that intimacy and that passion going long and strong through the longevity of your relationship, whether you have a marriage certificate or not. You should be enjoying yourself to the utmost level if you are in a relationship with a person, whether you're married or not. So if you're saying that you have not enjoyed yourself as much as you're doing now as you're married, what that's telling me is that there's something off here. There's some things that are being hidden. There's some things that are not in the forefront. There's some slight form of dishonesty. That's how I look at it. Because your relationship should be as close to what it was before you said, I do. Marriage is just a fucking business contract at the end of the day. And I know I've offended some people. Please forgive me. But if you've ever gotten divorced, that shit is handled like you're dissolving a business. Let's be clear. For those of you who have gotten divorced, you understand what the fuck I'm talking about. Getting married is one thing. Getting divorced is another completely different thing. And when you get divorced, it's handled completely different. It's matter the fact. It's matter fact. That is it. It's facts, figures, and it's a whole bunch of motherfucking emotions. So you want to make sure before you get married that passion, that intimacy, that communication, everything, that shit is set in stone before you walk down that aisle. If you're going through a path of goddamn discovery after getting married, you're going to run into some major hiccups and you are going to have some real reality checks because this shit it's not secure. It's not set in stone. Your whole premise, it's not solid. It's not solid. And until that person signed that contract with you, that marriage contract, that marriage license, if you didn't believe already that they were in it for the long haul, you need to give some motherfucking therapy or do some self-awareness, some self-reflection. Really, that's what you need to do. I'm going to call it as I see it. Marriage should not give you the comfort, the security that you need in a relationship. You got to have that with or without that piece of paper, with or without that ceremony. That's just what it is. Now, this other couple said, keeping sex short and sweet isn't just okay. It's probably preferred. Yes, let me read this again. This person says, keeping it short and sweet isn't just okay. It's probably preferred. They went on to elaborate. This person or couple said, I have single or unmarried friends who brag about the fact that they've had sex for 3 hours last night. And this other the married couple says 3 hours, 3 fucking hours. Why? Why do you want to have sex for 3 hours? Who has the time or the energy to have sex for 3 hours? They said, this guy and his wife said, we are pros. We know what we are doing. 3 to 13 minutes and we're good and we're back to eating sandwiches and watching Netflix again. Oh shit, this shit sounds dry as hell. 3 to 13 motherfucking minutes and they are back to eating fucking sandwiches and watching Netflix. See guys, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. 3 to 13 minutes, that means sex is like playing motherfucking volleyball to you. It's like going for a walk. You're missing the whole intimacy, the whole connection, the whole bonding. They're bonding over fucking sandwiches and watching Netflix, which means your ass is getting fat as that goddamn couch and flat screen TV that you're on. Yeah, when you got a big ass shaped like a fucking TV, you can't do much maneuvering for long, can you? No, you cannot. And I apologize. How can connecting with someone so intimately, so bare, so sensual, be not something that you want to enjoy? Huh? You just want to hit it, release, and move the fuck on. And you want to sit and eat sandwiches and watch Netflix. That's why I say there's somebody for everybody. Seriously, there is somebody for everybody. 3 hours of being bare naked, intimately warm, connecting with someone physically for 3 hours, you prefer a fucking sandwich and Netflix over having that sensual, close experience. That shit is mind-blowing to me. That means y'all motherfuckers ain't doing it right. That means you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Because if it was done right, you'd be like, fuck Netflix, and you would throw that goddamn sandwich out the motherfucking window for the chipmunks and the squirrels. That's what the fuck I said. Yes. And you would turn the TV outside for the wild animals to watch that shit because you would want to be intertwined with your spouse, your partner. I don't understand how a sandwich and a motherfucking Netflix show can outweigh the duration, the longevity of being able to connect with someone. And if you have the time to connect with someone for 3 goddamn hours, you should take that shit. Because one, it's a privilege and a motherfucking blessing. A lot of people don't have that time to connect. That's healing. Eating a fucking sandwich and watching Netflix, that doesn't heal your soul. That doesn't feed your soul mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That touch. How can a fucking sandwich replace that shit? Keeping it short and sweet. That means everything in your life is motherfucking short and sweet. It's cookie cutter mode, cookie cutter mode. What kind of fucking life is that? Huh? 3 to 13. What the fuck can you get done in 3 minutes? There's no foreplay. There's no intimacy. 3 to 13. I wish a motherfucker would. Let me tell you this. Don't come looking for me if you're Mr. 3 to 13 minutes. Don't come looking for me. Nah, I'm not the one. This sounds like some people who really don't like it, who's doing it to get it off and move the fuck on with their day. They're doing it because it's their duty. It's part of who they are, what they need to do. And they're just checking that box off. Box checking on a life is not a life. It's not a life. You think they take 3 to 13 minutes to eat that motherfucking sandwich? No, they're eating probably 1 sandwiches, 2 fucking sandwiches, 3 sandwiches, 4 sandwiches, and 5 motherfucking sandwiches. How long you think they're watching motherfucking Netflix? For 3 to 13 minutes? Hell no. So they spend more time fucking eating and watching TV than making love to their loved one. How does that sound? How does that seem? That shit seems fucked up to me. But hey, to each his own. I told you guys before, human beings, we need touch. We need closeness. We need interaction. That feeds who we are on the deepest level. A sandwich feeds your fucking body until you piss and shit that shit out. Yes, piss and shit that shit out. That is what I said. And Netflix, well, that's over when it's motherfucking over. But that can't not give you the long fulfillment that you need by connecting with the right people in the most intimate way. It's like, where the fuck are these people from? Where are you from? Because you need to go the fuck back, get reprogrammed, and come back here to life and enjoy the fact that you are in a human body. Enjoy that shit. You could be a fucking dog. You could be a goddamn ant. You are in a human body. Enjoy that shit while you can. You'll be old one day and can't fucking move. And then you'll be drinking your goddamn sandwich to a motherfucking straw. And you won't be able to either hear or see Netflix at that point in time. And then all you're going to have is what is in your brain. And if you're making 3-minute motherfucking memories, you're not going to have much to remember any motherfucking way. Do you understand? So this next couple said, sometimes a back rub is really just a back rub. The guy said, before I got married, I thought giving a back rub was considered foreplay and sex was a given. Now that I'm married and older, I know that offering to give a back rub means to literally give the woman a back rub! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. You see, the problem here is our SEXpectations of how we think things should look. If I do A, B, and C, that automatically equates to D. If I do X and Y, that automatically equates to Z. I may have messed that up, but A plus B plus C equals D. X plus Y equals Z. We start coming up with these recipes of how we should move through life. And if we do it this way, then that will guarantee us this result. But life is not like that. You got to understand the players involved and the circumstances surrounding it. what got you some sex before is not what's going to get you the sex in the marriage. And you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to adapt. That back rub may have worked with other people, but something else may work with your spouse. So if your end ultimate goal is to make love to your spouse and that back rub is not getting you that end result, if I was you, if I were you, I would go back and I would rethink my game. I would figure out my partner's spouse value system. I would look at what means the most to them and I would give them that shit. Because when you give your partner, your spouse, what they want, what they need, and the way that they could never even imagine, then that's how you guarantee yourself the sex that you motherfucking want. Do you understand? You see, the issue that we have is we're goddamn lazy. We're too motherfucking lazy. We think the game that we had and the game that we played on all these other chicks or all these other guys, you think your same bag of goddamn tricks is going to work on the one that you're marrying. Hell no. That's a different game. And you got to be smart enough to put together a new toolkit, a new bag of tricks with the person you're in a relationship with. You can't come with that one stunt monkey show and think that's going to get you the end result you need. No. If you want that sex, then you got to play to your motherfucking audience. And if a back rub is not getting you what you want, then first of all, you need to go get trained on how to give a better back rub. Or you need to really know and understand your mate. And you need to do what gets them purring. So before you even think about touching them, they're sprawled the fuck open waiting for your ass to fucking pounce. Do you understand? We have to stop being lazy. We got to put some effort, some energy, some creativity, some innovation behind what the fuck we do and how. We have to get into our partner's head. What makes them tick? What will blow their motherfucking mind so that when I come to them with my needs, it will be met. Now, this guy is giving this woman a back rub. Well, she probably wants the back rub because she feels like she needs some appreciation. Like maybe she's doing too much and this is the only fucking trick he got up his sleeve. So this is what I'm going to give for him, but I'm not going to give anything else in return. If you are giving someone a sensual back rub and they do not want to get more intimate after that, it's either one or two things. That was intimate enough for them, but it wasn't intimate enough for you. You got to think about that. How was your back rub satisfying for your mate, your spouse, but it wasn't gratifying for you? We have to do things for the other and ourselves that is satisfying, fulfilling for both. Typically in marriages, we go around doing things to please the other person, but we don't get much fulfillment from it. Which is why we have resentment, anger, and all these other emotions that start festering up over time. We do shit that we don't want to motherfucking do. We behave and are people who we are not. We're fucking pretending. We're pretending. And I don't know what else to say. Don't do things without getting fulfillment. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. We hand over this and then we expect eventually to receive something back, but it's always a lopsided equation. And what I'm asking you guys to consider is that when you give and take, make sure you're giving and taking at the same time. You're doing things that help both of you and benefit both of you. So if one of you are doing the dishes and you know that person doesn't like it as much, but if I help them, they'll be in a better mood. And if they're in a better mood, then I feel good. You want to do things where there's reciprocation right then and there, not do shit now and hope for some shit later. When you live life on a hope, wing, and a goddamn prayer, you're going to always be living life on a hope, or wing, and a goddamn prayer. What is a hope? You know what a hope is. You know what a wing is? You can't fly with one motherfucking wing. And a prayer is up to the divine whether you get it or not. So if you're living life on a hope, wing, and a goddamn prayer, you're going to be left empty-handed. I don't believe stacking myself to have my hands motherfucking empty.
No, I believe in having my hands full, overflowing. So if I'm going to make a move, I'm going to do some shit, I'm going to make sure, okay, how does this meet my needs? You say, hey, Tara, that's selfish. You can look at it as being selfish, or you can look at it as being selfish and selfless. Because whatever I choose to do, I'm going to make sure that, hey, that person's needs are met and my needs are met. I'm not going to walk away half empty-handed weighing what if, fuck what if. What if comes and goes. You may not get what the fuck you want. So you got to think about things strategically. How can we win together? Not I give her a back rub and I go jerk the fuck off and hope for a better outcome tomorrow. No, up your game. Step your shit up. Do you understand? Step your shit up. Why are you going to be sitting around living life fucking deprived? Why do we accept deprivation? Huh? When did deprivation become okay? Yeah, okay, she's not in the mood right now. But what you can do when you're massaging her, you can massage her so that you build up desire within her. You build up desire so much that by the time you're done with that motherfucking back rub, guess what? What you do is when she wants you, you tell her, not right now, dear. She's going to be like, what? What the fuck? He just turned me down. And that's going to make her want you even more. And then she's going to chase your ass, and she may even fucking leap on top of you and fucking pounce. That's what the fuck you want. You have to build desire. You have to build passion. What the fuck are you people doing? If you are going to give somebody a motherfucking back rub, you want to make sure that back rub blows their motherfucking mind. Do you understand? It's pop, 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 schmack, pop. That's what the fuck you want. So even if you know, hey, I'm not going to ask her for sex. I'm going to make her want that motherfucking sex, and then I'm going to tease her and tell her no. And let's see what the fuck she does then. Because she always thinks when I rub her goddamn back, I always want some. I do, but I'm going to flip the script on her, and I'm going to play this differently. You got to get smart. If she doesn't want you after that fucking back rub, you need to take a step back and figure out what the fuck I'm not doing right. And what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Make the people want you. Make them desire you. Whether you're fucking cooking breakfast, you're washing dinner, you're saying hello, good morning. Keep that desire, that mystery. Keep that shit going. So you're both being fulfilled at the same time. Do you understand? No, we come up with all these notions of, okay, we get married, we can't do this. This is what it's like. Don't expect this. Don't expect that. You have expectations for a reason. You have desires for a reason. Why do we start killing that shit? Setting it in a corner, sticking it in the closet, throwing it out to the garage because we've gotten married. Why do we have to cease to be alive and feel alive because we've gotten married? We got to stop that shit. We got to expect more, do more, and be more creative in how we approach it. Now, this other couple says, you can have morning breath and your spouse will still think you're a babe. If you married that motherfucker and they don't think you're still a babe, I would say that's a problem. And the fact that you're fucking surprised that your spouse still thinks you're a babe after morning breath, I'm questioning you. Like, where the fuck do you people get this shit from? You've been with this person all this time, right? I'm sure they smelled your ass and your breath and maybe in between your motherfucking toes at some motherfucking point in time. So why do you think after getting married that something is different? Why do you assume that something will change? Marriage is not supposed to change you. It's not. And I know it does for a lot of people. It makes them think that, hey, I have to stop doing. Hey, I don't have to work as hard. Hey, I can settle. Hey, I can be deprived. Hey, I don't have to do this anymore because I'm married and this motherfucker can't go anywhere. I'm not sure if you people know this, but it's called divorce. Yeah, it's called divorce. I know some of y'all don't like divorce, but when shit stops working, people get motherfucking divorced. Do you understand? Or you stay together doing whatever the hell you do. We're doing whatever it is that you do. Why, if someone loves you, would they not think you're a babe? Point blank, period. Whether your hair is matted, whether your clothes have a stain, why would you think that you're not acceptable, lovable as you are? Because if you have that in your mind, you've gotten that shit from someplace. Now, either it's your baggage or it's your spouse's or mate's baggage. But I would evaluate that. This person says, there's no need to always doll myself up or get all sexified. My husband acts the same whether I'm wearing sweats and a t-shirt. or a sexy piece of lingerie. I have also noticed I am much more confident under the sheets because I know my husband finds me sexy regardless of the rolls and the stretch marks. My love, you should have felt that comfort and confidence even before marriage. Marriage doesn't guarantee you anything. It's a false sense of security. And matter of fact, you should be confident whether you're married to him or her or not. Because if your spouse is gone, where's your confidence level go then? You can't have your confidence and sexiness tied to another motherfucker. Do you understand what I'm saying? That means you are leaving yourself exposed. Your self-worth, your self-value, it's exposed to be depleted at the whim of another. How are you going to leave yourself exposed like that? I've given people an analogy before. Imagine yourself being a vault at the bank. And if you don't know what's inside a vault in the bank, you have money, you have jewels, you have things that are very prized and treasured. Do you think that bank lets people come and go as they please? No. So why would you leave your self-worth, your sexiness, your confidence in the hands of another? That belongs to you. It belongs to only you. And even if you are in a t-shirt and a motherfucking and sweatpants, make that shit sexy. You can do that. We get too comfortable and lazy and complacent. We think that once we get married, shit is a given. Right? You're entitled to that. You're not entitled to anything. You have to keep in mind, you got that husband or wife because you were doing some shit right. And now that you're married, if you stop doing that shit, you run a very high risk of losing the person that fell in love with you. Ooh, that's too harsh. I know it is. Let me say it again, and maybe you can get it. The person that you become after getting married is not the person that you were when you snatched that son of a bitch's heart that you're with. So if you think that after all the work you did in snatching that person's heart, that you're entitled to keep that love, that attention, that desire and passion, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. A garden needs cultivation. Your brain needs cultivation. Your body needs cultivation. Your heart needs cultivation. Your spirit needs cultivation. So if every aspect of your life needs cultivation, then naturally you have to keep doing the work. Now, the definition of what sexified actually means, that will evolve also, depending on your relationship, your connection. But if you think that because you've gotten married, that you can kick the fuck up and sit the fuck back and think that, oh, what I work for will stay as is. No, let me tell you what happens over time. Things erode, they decompose. So if you truly, truly value the person that you are with, I suggest you keep cultivating that shit. Do you understand? Because what you do not cultivate will die. And then you have people who come around who revive gardens. Read between the lines. You have people who take dead gardens and bring that shit back to life. And then you feel salty because your barren, dry ass garden that you let basically die under your watch. Yeah, you let your garden that was full of life, colors, vitality, it was buzzing with life. You let that shit die because you got comfortable and entitled because you were married. That won't sustain your marriage. That will not fulfill you or your spouse. So if you think that you don't have to get sexified, you do. Maybe how you get sexified or dolled up looks different than what it was originally, but you still got to keep putting in the goddamn work. Do you understand? You still got to put in the work, because if you don't, someone else will come along and do so. And this is for men and this is for women. Don't get confused. Don't get confused. You take care of what you have, so you keep it. Okay? She says, even if I'm stinky, it gives me the extra confidence to try new things. Sex as a married couple has so much less pressure to have everything perfect. Nothing is perfect. So how and why if you're trying to have perfect sex, I can guarantee you one of you motherfuckers are not coming. Listen to what the fuck I said. It's not possible to have fucking perfect sex. If you are trying to have fucking perfect sex, one of you son of bitches are not climaxing. I can guarantee you that. Because to be perfect, you got to think too motherfucking much. And that means you're not living in the moment. That means you're acting. That means you're pretending. That means you are not being the true you. So the motherfucker that you have roped in, you've married, you've duped them. You fooled them. Because if you show them the real you, you may not be married right now. Or maybe you would have been married sooner. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? But if you're saying sex as a married couple has so much less pressure, that's some bullshit. There should be no pressure when it comes to sex. If you feel pressure on any way, shape, or form being intimate with someone, that means 1, you're probably not ready. 2, you got some unrealistic expectations. 3, you're probably with the wrong motherfucker. It should flow like breathing. It should flow like your heart beating. It should flow like a motherfucking eyelash, your eyelids blinking. If it's not doing that because you're having to work too hard, think too hard, have the right heels on, be in the right position, that's some bullshit. Life is not like that. Even fucking nature doesn't operate that. You think the sun says, oh, I'm going to wait for the perfect moment to get cloudy. No, it is what it is. Number 5, this person says, rose petals aren't as romantic as they seem. Okay? This person says, I learned this on our wedding night. If you go to a hotel and they spread romantic red rose flower petals all over the bed, you got to take the shit off before you have sex. And if you leave some on halfway through sex, on your wedding night, you realize the bed looks like a fucking murder scene because the red petals have smeared all over the crisp white sheets. So again, unrealistic expectations. Rose petals are beautiful, but they do not define the romance. The romance comes from that chemistry, that connection. Listen to what I'm saying to you. The rose petals, that is like having a cherry on top. That does not define the romance. That romance is in between you guys. You can't see the shit because it's in your chemistry. It's in your chemistry. When you start relying on rose petals and all these extraneous things outside yourself, that means when they're not present, that shit fucks you up. It fucks you up really bad. Can you not get romantic without having candlelights, without having champagne flutes? All that stuff is nice. But what if you didn't have that? Can you still have that same level of romance? Can you still stoke that fire of desire within that other person without having all that? How would you do that? Can you figure it out? I'll give you some clues. It's looking in the eyes. It's the way you breathe. It's the way you touch. It's how you're present. How you're physically present. It's how you naturally smell. What the fuck you think about that shit? Huh? Rose petals are nice. But some of y'all motherfuckers are broke. You can't afford any motherfucking rose petals. So if you can't afford rose petals, how do you get that romance? Huh? You don't want to be restricted to fucking rose petals and all that shit because no one's going to have the time to do all that always for you. So you want to make sure that you can get yours, get it done, and still get that same level of romance, whether you have all those extra items or not. You don't want that to make or break you. I know what I'm saying is really foreign, but try to work with me here. Try it. The romance that you're seeking, it's free. It's already with you. It depends on your connection and how you connect with another. If you know how to connect right, you don't need rose petals. You can do it with a breath. You can do it with the slightest touch. You can do it by just being present. Now, do y'all know how to work that? Do you know how to wield yourself like that onto another? Can you do it? Can your presence bring the romance that will make someone melt from the inside out and the outside in? Can you do that shit? No? Then you should get in touch with yourself and get familiar with how you operate. Get in touch with your true self. Because your true you will show you how to do you, how to be you, and how to make that shit happen. Now, another person said, having sex with kids in the house takes some getting used to. They said that now that we've accomplished, the deed many times, we just go at it at a respectful volume, just in case, and hope for heavy sleepers. I think we need to relax in life, and it's difficult, and be more fluid and dynamic. We really do. We have these belief systems that we concoct and we pick up from other people, places, and things. But these belief systems, they place so much pressure and stress on us because we're trying to live up to it. And it's difficult to live up to it. It's not possible all the time. And then that's when disappointment or resentment sinks in. You got to get creative, be innovative, be spontaneous, be dynamic. Do what makes your heart sing. Stop following these goddamn rules of what things should look like, because if it looks right, it probably is not fully right for you. Something to look at. Everything that looks good doesn't mean it's good for you. And we really need to think about that. We have some expectations of what things should be and how they should look like. And man, when life starts to fucking unfold on your ass, you are trying to catch the fuck up because you're shocked and you're being left behind because you're like, okay, this is not how it's supposed to look. This is not how it's supposed to be. And I would say, isn't that always how it is? Yeah, it's always like that. So we can kind of let some of the shit go that we're holding on to. Maybe things will get better. Now, this other couple says scheduling sex may become the norm. They said, the good days when we could have sex when we wanted, where we wanted, how long we wanted, like a vacation. Now it's more like a business meeting. Are you available at this time? Because we can't miss that TV show. How does Wednesday look? Nope, that's gymnastics and bath night. The kids are finally asleep. Should we try squeezing it in now? Yeah, that's painful, isn't it? That sounds like the motherfuckers who are having sandwiches and watching Netflix after 3 to 13 minutes of fucking or whatever they're doing. I mean, they're fucking. They're not making love. You can't make love in 3 to 13 fucking minutes. These people are fucking. They're fucking. Two strangers poking, stroking, whatever. That's what the other couple's doing. And this one, they're scheduling their shit. They're scheduling it, which is probably necessary because of their schedules. But couldn't you make it a little bit more fun? Huh? You can kind of schedule it without scheduling. What it means is you have it tentatively there, but you surprise the son of a bitch as far as what's going to go on, what's not going to go on, how it's going to happen. When you start scheduling shit, it makes it less fun. It takes away the spontaneity. There's no desire. There's no buildup. There's no passion. It's like exercising, and most people hate goddamn exercising. You got to surprise people. You got to surprise them. You got to surprise yourself. Why do you want to settle in life? If you got the schedule, great. Make it interesting. Surprise each other. Make the other person think that it's going to lead up to sex. No, what it's going to lead up to is one motherfucker having blue balls and someone else being sexually frustrated, and you're intentionally holding off for the next scheduled appointment. Because at the next scheduled appointment, you want to rip each other's skin off. Play games like that. Play games like that. Play with each other's mind. Get into your mind and start screwing with each other's mind. Play games. Forget the appointment, the scheduled appointment, and flip it on them some other way. Play fucking games. That would add so much more spice to your life. Don't you want spice? Don't you need some spice? Yes. That's why people get so fucking bored as hell. If you got the schedule, great, but get creative on how you do the shit. Don't just roll over and say, hello, it's 8 o'clock. Let's do this shit and go to bed. No. I said, I got something for your ass. Okay. I got something for you. Watch this and make it happen. Whatever it is. Play games, change things up, be mysterious. And this other couple says, and when sex is on the agenda, you have to make extra effort not to kill the mood. So this guy says, once you're married, sex isn't as spontaneous as it was when you were dating. And sometimes you have to plan it like later in the night, and then the pressure's on me not to say or do something stupid throughout the day that may screw it up. Most of the time, I won't speak at all and only communicate in sign language like a third base coach in baseball. Now that sounds like a very restrictive fuck all life. Let's be clear. You have to basically become a mime to get through the day to get some sex. Because if you speak, breathe, or blink the wrong way, you get no sex. That's a fuck all relationship. How are you going to be perfect to get some sex? How is that feasible? That is straight up fucking manipulation and deprivation at its best. No one is perfect. Someone's going to say some foul shit, do something wrong. But how does that take away from the love and intimacy? See, people, you guys don't have real fucking connections. It's fraud-based connections. What started off as a real connection evolved into something else before marriage, during marriage, or after marriage, and you're settling for that shit. Who wants to keep their mouth closed and act like a fucking third, do sign language to get to the day to get some ass? To get some ass. No, I wouldn't settle for that. I would say, fuck that shit. Life is too fucking short. If I can't talk and be me and you can't embrace me and see me for the king or queen that I am, I shouldn't be with you. Fuck that shit. No. What y'all should be doing is, you know that sex is on the fucking schedule. Both of you should be taunting and teasing each other up until that time, having fun. And then when it's time, you pounce on one another. That is a very stifling, restrictive life if you cannot be you. If that person cannot accept you, you are with the wrong goddamn person. There is no one who's perfect. You'll never be perfect. So stop trying to be perfect and do your best. And if your best is not motherfucking good enough and people are withholding sex because you said some foul, accidental, intentional shit, then that person doesn't understand you. And they think you mean ill will, you're harm, and you're malicious. How can you be in love with someone who thinks you're intentionally malicious? If we all understand that we make mistakes and we know that the person we love loves us, then whatever mistakes they made, you have to understand that it was an honest mistake and they didn't mean to hurt you. And if it hurts you that deep, you mean you need to go to some motherfucking therapy and figure out what the fuck is wrong with you and stop withholding sex. Sex is a part of life. That is why we are in a human body. We need that shit. We cannot be deprived from that. And if someone's withholding it, and when they give it to you, it's fucking cookie color, stale, mundane. What? Girl, ooh, why in the fuck are you going to act like you're fucking like a mime for some dry ass sex? Y'all got to raise your motherfucking standards in life. Expect more so you can get more. You think that's wrong. You can think what you want to think. I think life is meant to be here, to be lived, and to be lived to the fullest and to be fulfilled. And if you can't take how I am, then we shouldn't be together. And when I say take how I am, what that means is there's always a process of being self-aware and evolving and become the best person you can be. But if you're saying, you know what, if you don't behave like this, then I'm not giving you no ass, I say, fuck you. We need to part and I need to go find somebody else that I can roll with, because no, this is not going to work. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And then this last couple said, there's nothing like the real thing. So you have to stop with the porn expectations. Why do we get married? Do we have to stop this? Don't expect that. Can't talk. Don't do this. There's too many motherfucking rules. There's too many motherfucking rules. Life is not supposed to. Do you tell the sun you can only come up between these hours? No, the sun does whatever the fuck the sun wants to do. Do you tell the moon you need to pop up on these days or you can't motherfucking show yourself? No, the moon does what the moon needs to be. What's my point? You need to be you and the ability to be you. And being you also means that you're loving, you're respectful, you're compassionate, and you're considerate. But being your true you, when you're coming from a loving stance, there's no shackles. There's no shackles. You can't tell me how the fuck to be, how to behave. I'm going to be how I feel like being when I feel like being it. And if I'm acting a certain way that you disapprove of, you got to know me well enough that if I'm acting that way, I'm doing it for a reason. That's my best, and that's as good as it's going to motherfucking get. Now, you may not agree with it, but if you know that I love you and you love me, you roll with that shit. You roll with it. You ride or die. If you're telling me I need to be this way, dress this way, act this way, I like to wear sweats. I like to be as comfortable as fucking possible. Now, I like to be chic when I do it, but I like to be fucking comfortable as possible. Now, there's some people that have a problem with the fact that I wear sweats and times that they can't. Well, first of all, you're not as hot as motherfucking me. You're not shaped like me. You don't look like me. So you can't pull it the fuck off. 1. 2, that's your motherfucking issue. If I'm happy, I'm happy. Don't tell me what to be. Don't tell me what to say. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what the fuck to think. Don't get in my lane. If you get in my lane, I'm going to run you the fuck over and I'm going to incinerate you. That's how it needs to be in relationships. There needs to be boundaries, personal boundaries. You have to respect and understand the other person. You can't let someone railroad you saying, honey, you can't do this. Honey, you can't say that, honey. Fuck honey. Fuck that shit. This is who I am. Do you want it or not? This is my best. Do you want it or not? If someone wants to have a few porn expectations, have a few porn expectations. Can they have it every single time? No, because you may have your own porn expectations. You may have your own fantasies. But the fact is, why you got to take it off the table? Why does marriage have to be fucking deprivation? It's some stupid bullshit. Life is not about deprivation. Life is about adjusting, adapting, compromising, and being loving with one another, but it's not about deprivation. You guys really need to think about that. When you start depriving yourself of things that give you joy, fully depriving yourself of things that give you joy, I can guarantee you, your marriage is not going to last because you're not being you. You're being suffocated year after year and after year. You're being suffocated. You're not happy. You go on autopilot mode. Both of you start resenting each other. Can't stand the sight, the smell, nothing to do with one another. You know why? Because you're frauds. Your marriage a fraud. Your relationships a fraud. And each one of you are frauds. You're not being the true you. You're not telling the true you. Because you don't want to have to change or get a new relationship if the true you doesn't work. You like being comfortable. Being comfortable comes with a cost. I believe you should be yourself and be how you feel at that moment. And as long as you're coming from a place of love, do that shit. And if no one accepts or respects how you are, whatever, do that shit. Do you? Be happy. No regrets. No shame. No embarrassment, no guilt. Fuck it. Live your life. When you play by the rules, I have found personally that doesn't guarantee you a motherfucking thing. And when you don't play by the rules, that doesn't guarantee you anything either. So what's the moral of the story? Learn who you are, get in touch with who the fuck you are, and honor who you are. Make self-honoring, loving decisions based on who you are. Because then you live life light, free, and very, very happy. Will there be a lot of people who have problems with it? Yes. Will there be a lot of people who respect you? Yes. But they don't matter. You matter. And as long as you're radiant and you're positive, you'll have more and more positive, loving experiences coming in your life. But marriage for a lot of people means you get comfortable, lazy, and you accept deprivation. You accept shackles. You're in the wrong fucking marriage. You're with the wrong motherfucking person. That is not what it's about. You're not supposed to be suffocated, stifled, deprived, restricted. No. And if that is how you're running your relationship, let's see how long that shit lasts. I'll talk to you guys next week. Are you disappointed this has come to an end? Well, it doesn't have to. Reach out and let me know what you think about this episode and my podcast. You can try and slide into my DM, but I will kick your ass out. So I suggest you hop into my DM on Instagram at Difficult and Demanding or Twitter at Mrs. D&D, or leave a comment on one of my posts. Now give. My episode links to friends, family, associates, frenemies. Hell, give it to your enemies. Actually, I don't give a damn who you give it to. Just give the shit to people and bring laughter to others and show your love for this podcast. Do you want to follow me? Do you need to follow me? Then what are you waiting for? Follow me on Instagram at Difficult and Demanding. Episode 51 is here on November 9th, 2018 from the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast.